You know, to be very honest, this really did feel like a Star Wars film. It reeks Star Wars DNA. And I'm gonna break it all down, but let's jump into my review of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel today for another review. And today we're going to be reviewing the new film, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, coming to theaters February 17th. So, yes, if you are subscribed to the channel, then you have already seen my initial reaction to seeing the film the first time. And I also put out some tweets and all that's available, right? But now that the embargo has lifted for non-spoiler reviews, I can talk about this in a little bit more depth here. And now have seen it twice. I still say this film is okay. It very much feels like like the first movie of a new phase. It's phase 5, and it absolutely feels like the start to many things to come. And like, granted, if you just take a little bit of time to think, we all know where this phase is going to end. Avengers Kang Dynasty. So we know that Ant-Man and the Wasp goes to the quantum realm and they fight Kang. So obviously Kang has to appear in the film, you know what I mean? So like, the introduction to our villain, a reintroduction to our heroes, and then more explanation into what the quantum realm is. You know, that's a lot of what this film is. But ultimately, this film has the DNA of a lot of other popular films, and one truly just being like a chapter out of Star Wars. I don't know exactly what Star Wars it would be, but it certainly feels, and I want to say Empire Strikes Back, but that's obviously the best Star Wars film made, so I don't want to say it's like that, but like there's parts of it that does feel like that. And when it comes down to like the worlds, the creatures, the outfits, the exploration, all these things that's happening in the quantum realm, it feels like Star Wars. And if I really had to make a mixing bowl and like create a DNA of what this film is, it's like that animated film Strange Worlds that just recently came out and a Star Wars film mixed together. And there's parts of it that kind of feels like Lord of the Rings. And then it feels like a quick montage of what is to come with Creed 3. Like, seriously. And like, all that to say, like, this film was okay. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. There was things I certainly did like, one being Jonathan Majors' introduction as Kang. Yes, I know he was in Loki, but now being on the big screen and really seeing Kang the Conqueror in the way that we've all revered from the comics or animated versions of Marvel shows, you know, what would true Kang look like? And this was an introduction, and again, of things to come. Paul Rudd does a lot of what he usually does. You know, he has the comedic act. He's all about family, not Fast and Furious, but yeah, he's truly about trying to catch up on the missed time with Cassie, played by Catherine Newton, who makes her MCU debut. And you know, the chemistry that the two of them have absolutely feels very much like father-daughter. Even though she's completely rough to him the entire time, that actually like her sort of her her brutal sort of just her brutal nature towards him is kind of rough, but like it does create the stakes of like what has the time up with them two apart. Man, obviously with him being in the quantum realm and her, you know, not having her dad for those 5 years. But everybody else really does show up. I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer kicks ass. I gotta say that Michael Douglas is completely hilarious in his scene. And then Bill Murray coming in. I mean, for the time we get Bill is completely hilarious. And I gotta say, Corey Stoll as MODOK is fantastic. And I was kind of chatting with some of my buddies after the screening, and I said, I feel like people are not going to like MODOK. But I think if you are a hardcore comic book fan, I think you realize that they nailed MODOK to the T. Oh, yeah. Corey surprised the heck out of me in his performance as MODOK. I was a little worried, but man, was he good. There was parts about this film I didn't like, though. Like, I wish we had got some of, should I say, more time with some of our previous characters that we kind of wrote with in, you know, the first and second one. So while there is a credited Randall Park, you also see some names not credited, and it's kind of just like, wow, why wouldn't they get any time? And then for the limited time we get Jimmy Woo, it's kind of like, wow, I wish we could have had a little bit more. I thought there was definitely something to be left on the table there. Something left on the table there that they could have worked with. But the visuals was good. Going into the quantum realm was really dope. Very stimulating, shall I say. Not as crazy as like Into the Spider-Verse, but like certainly Doctor Strange-ish and going into the quantum realm. So that, that was fun. Seeing those worlds really, come to life, and again, the exploration of the different worlds within the quantum realm was really cool. I didn't laugh as much as I did in the previous films. At times, it was extremely corny. The third act was extremely corny. But also in the third act, we also got some really good choreography. As I mentioned, we got early glimpses of Creed 3. And just gotta say, Kang, yeah, wrong movie possibly, but it's all good. But no, Jonathan Majors was fantastic the entire time. He's easily the bright spot in this film. I thought Michelle Pfeiffer really carried the film as well too. Again, Corey Stoll as MODOK was fantastic. And overall, I don't think there was any bit of like moments of our cast really not making the best of it. But again, sometimes the film felt very corny. Jokes were kind of misplaced. The severity and the nature of everything that kind of happened about it wasn't always matched. There was times where it was just like, yay, I know you're happy to see your whoever, but like also there's a huge threat happening here. But I think going into this film, one thing you can certainly be reassured that like the visuals, you're gonna have a good time with that. As again, this is the first chapter in the new phase in Phase 5, and so this film certainly sets up a lot of possibilities. And I think even if you forget what those possibilities may be, the two mid-credit and the one mid-credit and after-credit scene, the two stingers, certainly makes you remember like, oh yeah, that's right. And so with that, I think that this was a good first step. So I'm not even going to go as far as saying they played this film safe, but like it very much was played like a chapter 1, which to me I think puts a lot of pressure on the film to follow this, which I think is Guardians. But like overall, I think that like this film did do a really good job in getting us prepared for the threat of Kang the Conqueror this entire phase. And Jonathan being Kang, I mean, how can you be mad about that? I know, yes, we got Kang and Loki, but like understanding his sort of say dilemma and the things that he's trying to accomplish, and then his power set behind that, like, yeah, things are going to get crazy here. But I can make so many comparisons to this film. I mean, like, moments of the film kind of felt like Spy Kids, and again, a lot of it felt like Star Wars. Moments of it felt like Thor 3, Ragnarok, when you talk about Thor and these creatures that are kind of accompanying him in his journey, and like how they're like the comedic relief, and you obviously don't think they're going to actually contribute in a way that helps, overcome the threat. But they're there, and you're like, no, I kind of like them. Yeah, you're going to get some of that too. And then again, I think like when you talk about the different worlds of the creatures and all that other stuff, it does feels like that animated film, Strange Worlds. And then again, there's this whole, I'd say like there's this kind of Lord of the Rings thing. And I will say like, Hank kind of comes out like Gandalf. Like it's an interesting thing, but, yeah, and if for whatever reason you just want to know what the film is about, yeah, I guess I should mention that Janet being in the quantum realm for 30 years, and while she was in the quantum realm, she did end up having a run-in with Kang, and Kang is in the quantum realm because, well, he was exiled there. He's trying to get out because for the folks that did this to him, he is trying to get out to win, and Janet getting out to get back home because all she ever wanted to do was get back to Hope. And now that she's home, and now that they re-enter the quantum realm, she goes back into the danger she left behind. Kang is there, and Kang needs to get out, but he needs Scott's help. The only person that can help him get what he needs in order to get out of what's going on here. So there is that. I don't know, man. Listen, I wasn't super high on this film. I wasn't super low. Very much in the middle. But it was an entertaining time. I still did laugh at times. I laughed in the first time. So I think the jokes landed. But it's completely silly. It's definitely off the rails. And I think that, for the Ant-Man trilogy thus far, it's not as strong as the others. But, like, it was entertaining. And I think this one, again, is the focus of setting up Phase 5, setting up Kang, and what's to come. And I think we have things to come and more things to talk about. I won't be doing a spoiler review for embargo reasons, but this is my non-spoiler review of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Check it out. You're a big Marvel fan, you absolutely will. But like, I hate to say this because I know some people said this in my reaction thing about setting expectations low. I'm not saying set it low, but understand that, like, don't go granular with chapter 1. If it's Avengers, Kang Dynasty, set your bar high because that's the finale. Of course it should be the big shebang. But this is chapter 1, and this is just the step forward until we get to the end. So go in there with that mindset and understand that it's still Marvel. You're going to have good visuals. You're going to have some Easter eggs. You're going to have our favorite characters really get into it. I didn't mention Evangeline Lilly. She's fantastic in this, and I think some of her visuals, some of her up close ones, I think even with MODOK and his CGI face and how he's kind of menacing flying around, but he's completely comedic when he needs to be. Like, all those things work in this, man. They do get that right. So, keep that in mind. But nonetheless, folks, y'all get in the comments. Y'all let me know your thoughts about this when y'all check it out. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews very soon. Big old bell.